Ah, what an interesting few days for many reasons. Many reasons. So I needed 24 hours. That was probably, if not, one of the most stressful things I think I've ever been involved in. Yeah. So this is just a sort of a debrief. I will go into this a little bit more in detail, and I'm going to basically bring up a lot, but I just wanted to do just a bit of a debrief. Like I said, I needed 24 hours just to come down off the stress levels. Anyone that was with me will know that my stress levels were very, very high, and I needed to make sure that I was calm and collective and de-stressed before I came back on the internet and spoke about things. So I want to address some things. I want people to be aware of what I went through. I want people to be aware of what happened, what changed, what we had to do once information came to light. So let's get into it. So on Thursday, I travelled to London, to an airport, and I then flew into Belgium. I flew into Belgium, and as I came out off the plane to the passport control, I knew by the look on the guy's face after 10 seconds after passing him my passport that something wasn't right. He started talking in that language, whatever Belgians speak, and he then called over one of his superiors and he passed him my passport, and the guy said, "Come with me." So in my mind then, I thought, that's it, it's over. If I go back a little bit, I could not call it on. I could not call it on and not be in France. I couldn't. It wouldn't have been fair. I'm the one that knows where to go. I'm the person that was organising it. So I spoke to Andy Hood in Dover. I said, I need a decoy. We need to call it on in Dover. Make it sound really heightened. We're going to close Dover, make it really heightened. And then obviously the migrant facility centre happened, the interview, the whistleblower. And I said, Andy, what I want you to do is just get, you be my man on the ground, get down there, and I'll be in another country. So yeah, flew into Belgium. They held me, put me into the detention centre in Brussels airport. And I knew something was a bit odd when everyone around me, these African people that were all around me, that's pretty much all it was, they were all being taken into rooms by those with border uniforms on. And the people then, one by one, and then the people that came to see me were wearing suits. And I thought that wasn't a good sign for me. So I recorded everything, got all of this. I'm going to release this. It's quite interesting to see what I went through to get into France. So sat with them. They asked me many questions. I took some advice from a lawyer prior to going on the plane if anything happened, and I just didn't mention France. Told them that I'd legally entered Belgium. I told them they had no reason to hold me. The French have just put a marker on my name for secondary checks. Wasn't indicating a ban, just indicating a check that needed to be done. And then they released me. One of the lads drove from England all the way into Belgium to come and collect me, which was great. And yeah, we travelled from Belgium. I'm not going to tell you this because we're never gonna do it like this again. We know exactly what needs to be done now. It's never going to be done. So anyone says, well, you're giving away what you're doing now. We're never going to do it like this again. We know what we're going to do. So anyone that thinks that, this is why I'm telling the story, because we're not going to do it like this. So I drove down back into France, stayed in Gravelines, ground zero, stayed in the hotel in Gravelines. Again, documented all of this. Woke up very early. Got out. So in the hotel, I decided to go for some food. We go for some food, and then my source frantically calling me. I thought, well, that's not good. I answer the phone, and she says, "Where are you?" I said, grave lines. She said, you need to get out of France right now. I said, why? She went, they have imposed a total ban on any gatherings. Anyone that is seen gathering in a group in the north of France from Friday to Monday will be arrested, taken to the border, deported back to England, or told to go back to England, and potentially even administrative ban that they've imposed on 10 Raise the Colours activists. So you can imagine how I then felt. I felt ill, I felt sick, I felt my heart sink, which was mad, you know, to be in that position where I know that people are making their way down. So I then had to make a decision based on the whole operation to make sure the French were trying to do us here. They're trying to do us, and they're trying to make sure that I'm made an example of. I then knew that our original plan to meet, and I was going to put this out, I didn't think it was going to be made illegal to gather. I wasn't going to be at the meet point. People were going to go to that meet point and then bring people to where I was. I then knew that became illegal. I then knew that I was now responsible, potentially, for getting everyone arrested. And my heart sank. That's what they want. They want the pictures of people being arrested, far-right activists arrested in France, deported. That's what they wanted. That's the headlines they wanted. So I had to be very clever. I had to be really, really smart with this. So within 9 hours, I had to work out a way of doing this. I wanted to make sure that I got hold of everyone, and it seems I didn't. And I've just got off the phone with another guy that made his way to France. I've explained the damage that the French authorities, by putting this ban in place, had caused. So it's pretty obvious. I mean, anyone that thinks that groups of men are just going to walk into France and they're not going to be met with some serious issues is pissing in the wind. They are not fucking about. But I wasn't willing to accept that. And I knew that if I left France without doing what needs to be done, I would have felt weak. I would have felt like they would have won. So I tried everything to speak to people and make them aware. I had the Daily Mail pretending to be a patriot. I had him on FaceTime. The Daily Mail, it's all going in the video. The Daily Mail guy was going, Danny, where do I go next? There's a group of 10 of us. I was going, where are you? He goes, I'm in Calais. So I said, FaceTime me. So I FaceTimed him, and it was the reporter that I met on the beach. He goes, remember me on the beach? Come on, Danny, where we got to go? And I thought, oh my God. And then lefties, all loads of lefties. Danny, where do I go? Danny, where do I go? Danny, where do I go? And I thought, and then I managed to suss a lot of them out, went on their profiles, sussed a lot of them out. But in the meantime of this, I'm trying to organise how we're going to do this. So it was very, very heightened. But so even people that were trying to get to us, father and son, another guy from Gosport, you'll know who you are, and another guy that had driven 7 hours. When I spoke to him, he said, Dan, I've driven 7 hours from Cumbria. I said, I can't let this, I've got to get this guy to me. They wouldn't let him down onto the beach. So they basically had police set up on pretty much every entrance, road down to the beach in the north of France. There was a police activity, and anyone that travelled to France can verify that. There was police everywhere. So the guy from Gosport was stopped twice, breathalyzed, asked where he was going, car searched. The guy from Cumbria, breathalyzed, car searched, told he couldn't go down the beach. So I actually met up with them after, which again will be in a video. I met up with them after, apologised that they couldn't get to us at that time. There was a few, the whole thing became very, very stressful. But they were hunting me like a dog. And everyone I spoke to said to me, Danny, they want you badly. And that made me realise they wanted to make an example of me. So what we did is we met on the Belgian border, and knowing that I said to look, the lads that can get to us, the ones that can get through, let's meet on the Belgian border. They've got no jurisdiction there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go down on the Belgium side, and we're going to travel over to the France side, and we're going to make sure we're in France and we go along that coast and we stand proud on them French beaches. And I'm not joking. Even on the way to do this video, I'm getting people calling me saying, Danny, where the area that you're in, you're about to enter, there are police in the car park. I can't get down because I've told this guy to come down. So I've got all of this and I'll show you in the video. So the most stressful thing I have ever been part of, firstly for my own, I knew that they were going to make an example of me. They were hunting me like a terrorist. They did all of this. I mean, you've got to understand, they activated their version of MI5 in plain clothes along the whole French North Territory. They put every available police officer on duty to try and stop us from gathering, but yet will not do this. For the migrants. They will not ban the migrants from leaving the camps. They won't ban the migrants from going on the beach. They won't put MI5 in plain clothes around the camps to see if when they're moving or not. I mean, the people, I just can't get over it. How much the length, do you know how much it cost them? 1.5 million euros for this weekend. That's how much they spent on trying to get me and the lads. So yeah, so just to anyone that travelled over and didn't make it to us, or I didn't message and see, please take my apologies. Remember, I tried to do all this on my own. I tried to organise this, and my plan was thrown to the gutter 12 hours before it hit. Listen, if that ban wouldn't have been in place, I believe it would have been immense. I mean, I'm finding out today, like lads that I didn't even know were coming. So just an apology to anyone that tried to come. I have asked anyone that spent money if they want a reimbursement. I'm happy to reimburse anyone. I don't want anyone being disheartened. You've got to understand, this was the first one. This is the first one. This was to see what games they would play. This was the first one. This was, you know, this is a long-term thing, and people need to understand the way that the French are now moving. The French are not having it. The French are not having it. If you think the French are just going to let people just walk in groups and walk up and down the beach and go into the micrograms, they're working closely with the NGOs. They want to make an example out of people, and you know, they couldn't even find us, and we were in plain view. Sometimes the best place to be is in plain view, and yeah. So just to talk about the lads that actually got through, I want to thank you so much. They took a huge risk. So anyone that I managed to get hold of, I made them aware of the risks. So anyone that did get contacted and tried to come to me, I sent them the news report to say that it was total gatherings was banned. I wanted everyone to understand the risk. What I knew they wanted, there are certain people even, you know, wanted people to be arrested so they could go, look, that's what Danny's done. Danny's just took people to France and got them arrested. That was never my intention. And I'm so glad that I controlled it. I controlled it. And I'm so glad the lads accepted the way that I said it. I said, we cannot just bowl into grave lines. We can't just bowl in. Everyone will just get nicked. I'll end up in prison in France and everyone will just get nicked and probably given bans never to come back to France. I knew I had to do whatever I could. To prevent people from being arrested, prevent anyone from being disorder. And I've just got off the phone with John, who I missed, and he, you know, at the beginning he was obviously pissed, and I explained him the heightened stress I was under, trying to keep everything calm. You know, the way to do it is not get people to contact you first thing in the morning and write you, but I had to come up with something very quickly because they put this in place 12 hours before. I'm sitting there thinking, shit, how the fuck am I going to do this now? But we pulled it off in a way. And listen, even though many, from what I'm seeing, didn't make it, stopped at the border, came over, and it meant that everyone saw the police presence. Everyone that was in France saw the amount of police that were in the north of France. They brought in the Spanish police to help at the border. A guy, you know, a place on the south of France called Caen or something. The guy I just spoke to, who was from Gosport, he said he came in that way. He said there was police there as well. So every border, they literally thought 20,000 lads were coming. And only probably, I think in total, probably 150 to 200 lads turned up. And none of them got through to where, and I'm going to take that on my head. We learn. But where the fuck was everyone else? Like, seriously, where the fuck was everyone else? because the element of doing this now and getting this done and making a point is now, you know, we've made a point. The point we've made is that on Saturday, and I have had some information from people that know what they're talking about, and they said that the weather was good. The weather was nice in France. There was a bit of a choppy sea out there, but they've gone in much worse conditions. They've gone in much worse conditions. So it was very plausible and very obvious that on that morning, had it not been for us travelling into France, people travelling to France, had it not been for the police having to mobilise their MI5 and their police force, it would be very plausible that the migrants would have tried that morning. So even though it got completely turned on its head by them, and we knew they were going to play some games. I didn't expect them to put a total ban on gatherings, but I knew they were going to play some games. I believe that we showed that pressure works, because it did. No boats left. But, you know, we know what now needs to be done. We now know that, speaking on social media, you know, people need to understand this had to be done first. This had to be done really soon before they managed to start putting things in place. They're putting things in place. So I took a huge risk on Saturday. Massive risk. If they would have caught us in that group, they would have made an example out of me. Definitely, the way they were hunting me. But I did it because I knew it had to be done. It was for the country. It had to be shown that the pressure can work. But where the fuck was everyone else? All these messages. I want to go to France. I want to go do it. What you think now? You think that people are just going to be able to bowl into France, start patrolling the beaches, start going into the camps? Good luck with that. This now needs to take another direction. And we know that. The French are not fucking about. And they've just got to be honest. I've got to be honest with people, because people need to know the realities of what... The cash cow is so fucking deep. There's so much money floating around. They do not want this to happen. They knew the optics of British men on those beaches on Saturday, holding flags, saying that taking a stand like we did would be a terrible thing for the French authorities. And they knew that, I mean, how can you put all the old bill all over the place for us, but not for them? And I've also shown that you don't need to donate any money for this to work. No men turned up on Saturday, even the ones that didn't make it through to us. No one turned up to cause issues. No one turned up to cause a fight. No one turned up to cause a riot, because we warned people that came for that you'd be dealt with in an English way. So I think they probably stayed away. So it just proves you don't need to donate to anything. You just need to be a little bit smarter, and that's what needs to happen. But in my mind, I did what needed to be done at that point. So, and it worked. We got, you know, they couldn't find us. Fantastic. Brilliant. It would have been a different story hadn't they got me. The headlines and all that sort of stuff. So, and the fact that, yes, on Saturday as well, while all the French were on the all the French police were on the beaches looking for us, the migrants were shooting at each other in the camps. The migrants, who are going to be in England very, very soon, are shooting at each other. And if you want to know what that's about, go onto my post on my YouTube. You'll see I've shared it. And this has come from a source within France saying, Danny, while all those police were on the beaches looking for you, holding the border, they were shooting at each other. Insane. So it just proves that when they want to, they can mobilise enough police to close the beaches. They can mobilise enough police to prevent them from leaving the camps. But it takes the threat of English and British men coming to their shores for them to do that. So we just need to be smarter. And just waiting, you're giving them time to prepare, you know. And that's something that I've now realised that they're preparing, you know. So people need to be very, very careful. You will be arrested. You will be taken back to the border, and you will be given a ban. So now we need to do things a bit smarter. But again, all this has done is made me more determined to be a bit smarter. I'm glad we did what we did. I'm glad everyone got out safe. My main priority on Saturday was to make sure we took a stand on those beaches, that we were in France taking a stand on those beaches and saying what needs to be said, with the threat of the Gestapo looking for us, with the threat of MI5, French MI5 looking for us, and to prevent them from leaving that day. That's the message that you know that you can do. You just don't want to do it. So that's where we're at. Crazy. I mean, the stress levels were insane. So yeah, and the French today have extended the ban. The French have extended the ban on gatherings by British patriots in the north of France until Wednesday. So I was thinking, well, what about Thursday? Does that mean people can gather on Thursday? Don't know. See what happens. Again, my apologies for anyone that I missed. Please believe me. That was the last thing I ever wanted. But we were faced with what we were faced with 9 hours before the event, before it's supposed to kick off, and I tried to improvise as best as I could. And my main priority is getting everyone home safe. No arrests, no violence, no police stopping anyone. That's the pictures they wanted. That's why all the press were contacting me. I've had the French press, the English press, everyone's going, can we have a conversation? We don't talk to the press. Anyone talks to the media is a snake. Anyone that talks to the media is a snake. Whatever media outlet it is, all the media are the same. They're all part of the same clubs. Do not speak to the media. They are fucking snakes. They do not care about us. If they cared about us, why is it taking me to go down to Dover to highlight this location like Active Patriot did and all this, take it to a bit of another level by speaking to a whistleblower, getting the whistleblower to give me all these pictures, then listen to it, and then now they're shutting it. Now the pressure of people being there, has made them think twice about reopening it. What, GB News can't do that? GB News can't investigate why is the headline not? Why, without anyone talking to the media, why is the headline not French authorities mobilise the threat that the whole of the French police force in the north of France, plus their version of MI5, to prevent British and English men peacefully standing and taking a stand, but cannot do any of that for the £800 million we send them to stop Americans leaving the beaches? They've got drones in the air telling them exactly what's going on. Like what else? They're all being told not to really talk about it. Sorry, if I can figure that out categorically, then why are they not? Because they know that the higher powers will have a go at them if they actually tell the truth. So yeah, so we're going to do things a lot differently. The conversations on the internet will now cease. The conversations about what needs to be done will not cease, but the conversations about mobilising and doing what's needed will not happen on the internet anymore. Number one, I had to get a core base of people. I needed to make sure and I have got some really decent lads that are just business owners, dads, husbands that just want to do what's right and are willing to do what's right. So again, main point is what we achieved on Saturday was only a very small point, and I'm very sorry that the vast majority of those that travelled didn't make it, and I am genuinely sorry. And again, if you want to contact me, show me the receipts from the Le Shuttle or from the ferries. I'm more than happy to reimburse people where I can, because I feel guilty on that side, but it's not, It'd be nice if other people, would get involved in getting this done rather than just chatting shit on the internet. Doesn't need money to make this work. You walk along those beaches or anywhere with any sort of signature move or anything on you, it's not gonna work. You need to start making a plan. If you've got an idea, you think it's gonna work, you better get going, because the French are mobilising in a mad old way. They are moving madly. If you think people are just gonna pop over to France and what we did on those beaches, you're not gonna be able to do that anymore. And I mean that. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. The French will come down hard on you like they did. Anyone that was in France, I was getting hunted like a terrorist. I was getting hunted like a terrorist. And it was very concerning. But you just think, oh my God, like as if they're doing that for us. I've never committed a crime. I've never committed a crime in France. I've never attacked a migrant. I've never intimidated a migrant. I've never intimidated an NGO. All we've done is spoken and shown and documented. That's all we've done. Yet they can impose a sweeping ban on individuals. And then within a matter of seconds, they can put a ban on people gathering in France. So if people are thinking about doing things, and more the merrier, you need to get going, because they are not messing around anymore. I'm sad to say that, but what do you think that's going to stop us? I mean, the English, we are. and the risks are the risks. But if we allow this to just deter us, just be very careful, because they will come down hard. There's men that's willing to take that risk, and that is what it is. But we do things away from the internet. So from now on, things will be done covertly. Conversations will be had away from the social media. You know, so be mindful of that. Stressful, very stressful. Just the lad, I'm not going to mention his name, but the lad that came all the way from London to Brussels to pick me up. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. He drove for 9 hours in total to get me to France. So, yeah, social media gives it away too much. If the French didn't do this with the ban, then things would be different. But now that they're playing, they're moving like this, people, we need to realise that we need to take a different strategy.